How's it going, folks? Thought I'd show you a couple of new critters we got around the place here, and thank you very much to Anita for dropping these around. We got some mealworms. So these guys here will be used not only as fish food. There's one left. Who's going to get him? No one wants him. Ah, there he goes. Yeah, these guys are going to be used as fish food, not only for these guys, but hopefully we'll be able to grow them long enough for the next lot that go over in the new systems. But we're also going to be using them for quail and chickens if we get the chickens, and more importantly for the butcher birds on the deck, so they can have some live insect feed. So we need to get these guys some decent feed later on. Kira's doing potato bake tonight, so we'll pop some potato slices in there. There's a fair number of them down in there. So hopefully we'll get some pupating soon and we can boost the numbers and set up a bit of a tray farming system. So that's pretty sweet. Thank you very much, Anita, again. The system itself is running pretty sweet. We've had a load of rain over the last couple of days. I'll just grab the meter. And not as much as some people in this area. We've only had about 84 millimeters. Some people I saw online have had anywhere up to about 400 millimeters over the last 3 or 4 days. So yeah, it's been more than enough to push the pH down in the system. I came out this morning and it was sitting pretty low, around about 6.5, so I popped in some calcium hydroxide and it's bumped it up 0.3 by the look of it. So yeah, that's pretty good, pretty happy with that, aren't you, Lizzie? Yeah, but the rest of the system's going okay. Just picked a small bowl full of the tomatoes to go up in a salad for dinner. And I noticed, oh, these are the tomatoes. I think I'll let this one survive and I'll cut the others back. I might let 2 go. But yeah, these are the next generation of tomatoes and hopefully they'll fall down this way. And the Argy Amarillo has got some little buds. But the next generation of lettuce is on its way through. They're the ones I just tossed in there from yeah, just collecting the seeds off this the other day. And we have some of the normal green coral that is almost ready. Some down here is already starting to get a little bit fluffy, so they'll be ready to go out in the next day or so. We'll toss some more over on the other side. I haven't got up early enough to do the fermented plant juice with the kangkong, but I will be doing that soon. Oh, and I just noticed we're getting a number of little spikes up on this ginger over here that is being smothered, so that's pretty sweet. But yeah, just thought I'd do a quick little update on the aquaponics before I give you an update on my health issues. Just sort this camera out a bit. So there we go. Yeah, had the specialist appointment yesterday and the CT scan came back clear. He couldn't see any signs of any scarring on the lungs, and he did some more blood tests. And apparently I don't have farmer's lung as such, and one of the ways you could tell was they call it ground glass. Basically it looks like there's ground glass on the slices, for want of a better word, on the CT scan, and I have no lung damage whatsoever. He's actually quite surprised I smoked as many cigarettes I did for as long as I did, because apparently my lungs look fairly healthy, thankfully. From what he saw in the blood test, I do have a severe allergy to, he said, compost mushroom spores. And I pointed out that it happens with the oyster mushrooms, but not when I handle compost. So it's a little bit up in the air there, but I'm fairly confident that it's just the oyster mushrooms, just because I've been digging around in the compost down the back and I haven't had any issues when I've done that. So yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, it's just the oyster mushrooms, and we'll just continue to let them grow down the back, which reminds me, I'll show you some that just popped the other day, or yesterday, we noticed. So yeah, I'm really relieved. He did say that other than the scarring of the lungs, it's pretty much all the same symptoms though as farmer's lung, although I shouldn't be getting more severe reactions with every bout. He said it will depend on my amount of exposure as to how bad my reaction will be. So an easy way to fix it is just not get exposed, I suppose. So that's what I'm planning on doing. Any mushrooms that do start to spore down the back, I just won't be working around them, or I'll have a gaiter or a mask on when I am in that area. And I think, yeah, I should be pretty safe. So it's a big relief. It means I can get back into the garden. I can start digging around in bits and pieces again. Because I have a list a mile long of bits and pieces I've been putting off because I've just felt like crap, to be totally honest. And yeah, I'm feeling a lot better at the moment, so I'm going to start hooking into them. But yeah, I'll take you down the back and give you a bit of a gander of these mushrooms, Bianca spotted. So right down the back here next to the potato barrel was the first lots we spotted yesterday afternoon, along with a load of broccoli seedlings. Actually trod on that one there and broke it. Now what's interesting about this is I buried the spore underneath the bay tree way up there originally. So that just shows how far the mycelia has run to start creating fruiting bodies all the way down here. Now the big cluster we found after that was up here. Oh, that's new again. I didn't see these guys yesterday, but there's some there. So there we go, there's another little cluster there. And these are the ones B spotted yesterday afternoon when we were coming down to check that yeah, everything wasn't overflowing, all the wicking beds and whatnot with all the rain. So pretty chuffed about that. I don't know whether we'll be able to grow enough just in the mulch to sustain us for whole meals, but you never know. The plan is still to pop a whole load into this little pile here and see how they go. It'll be nice and damp by now, I would think, with all that rain. Yeah, look how moist that is. So we'll throw some in there. This is an ironbark tree. I'm fairly sure I mentioned it. This is an old dead ironbark tree out the front of Mum and Dad's place that they ran through a chipper. So I should have loads of cellulose in there for the oysters to feed on. So there you go. So after I finished filming the other day, I did split those spent mushroom bags and added them into this wood chip here. So hopefully, if the weather stays a little bit damp this summer, we might get a couple of flushes of mushrooms out of here. And what I thought I'd do is just bring you up to date on a few other things around the patch. I ended up having to take all the plants out of these trays here and empty them. It's just been so wet, the mosquitoes had been breeding down the base. So I'm just letting them dry out a little bit, and the pouches are soaking wet too still, even though it's been 4 or 5 days later. Down the back here, not a lot else has changed. I've been a little bit busy getting some other bits and pieces organised. Oh, give you a bit of a look at these beans. They got a bit of a reprieve. They sent out a load of flowers after I filmed the last update. So hopefully we'll start to see a couple of bean flushes come through here. There's a couple of little tiny ones just starting to emerge from some flowers, and there's another little one just starting to emerge there as well. So fingers crossed we'll be able to save these vines, because if they're not being productive, I don't see any point in keeping them in the yard. Now what I've been doing in my spare time this week is renovating the old aquaponics area. There used to be pavers on top of the old rock that was sitting underneath the aquaponic area, just trying to create somewhere smooth to walk on and somewhere to store the pavers. But we've decided to get a small retaining wall put down the side of our driveway between us and the neighbours, and I thought a good idea to finish off the driveway until we got enough money to concrete the rest of it is to grab all this rock that was down here on these two little platforms and collect it, pop it all up here, and once the retaining walls go in, we will just dump it on the driveway just to make it look all nice and pretty like, and also yeah, it'll be easier for people to walk around the back of the house and that sort of thing. So that was fun, digging out these two areas here, and then what I decided to do was take all the pavers that I had piled up over there and lay them 3 layers deep in both areas, just so we can basically store them. I didn't want to store piles of pavers around, and this area here won't get its proper makeover until at least this time next year. So I thought we'll just store them on the ground where they're out of the way, and we've got a couple left over. I was cutting it pretty fine actually. I ended up using a lot of the broken pavers just under this section here. So yeah, that's what I finished off today, and I tell you what, I am absolutely flogged. What is it? In the shade down here, we're looking at 36 degrees Celsius. Click the button on the back, there we go, 97.7 Fahrenheit. So yeah, a little bit warm down here today. But I've finally got this all sorted out. Under this area here too, I'm going to be moving all the root pouches and the odd wicking barrels we have around the place, and making up a little bit of a half hoop house. But I'll show that in another clip, a little idea I've got, because I'd like a fairly tall back, and just have the hoops come down to some posts on the other side. And that way I can have some trellises along the back edge there. And this dodgy fence over here that's slowly falling over, That will be replaced down the line, the same time as we build this, the new aquaponics shelter here. Just a little bit of a area to keep the aquaponic grow beds out of the weather. Now the last bit of rock I need to dig out is just this section here, which from memory is fairly deep with rock actually. So fingers crossed we won't need to buy any more to put on the driveway there. And yeah, there's a little bit of rock underneath these bricks as well. Oh, and those trays there for the root pouches to sit in once I get all this area sorted out. But yeah, I'm pretty much well beat, and I thought I'd give you just a little bit of an update on yeah, what I've been doing through the week, other than answering comments and questions and doing the odd sale for a nutcracker here or there. Just quickly, I would like to thank all you folks who sent messages of concern and well wishes. Thank you very much, folks. I really do appreciate the support. I was really iffy about even mentioning there was a bit of an issue, but you know, when you don't post as many clips as you normally do, people start to wonder why. So yeah, I'm not leaving YouTube. I'm going to be hanging around. There may not be a lot of clips until probably mid-January at this point. That's just because of the silly season, and we want to get a few things sorted out here. And I'd like to do spend a little bit more time to do the longer clips and, you know, put a little bit more effort into them to help you folks out. So yeah, there will be more aquaponics and a wicking bed clip coming. Rake just fell down the line, so keep an eye out for them. To you folks as well who did reach out and tell me that you had similar symptoms than me, please go and get yourself checked out. It may just be an allergy, which, you know, isn't fun, but you know, you need to basically make sure it's not farmer's lung and work out what's going on, because, you know, respiratory diseases, especially with all these flus flying around, they're definitely not something you want to get stuck with. So please be safe and go get checked out. Yeah, so I have done some work with the aquaponics this week as well, and next week after Christmas I will upload a little bit of a clip just giving you a bit of an update on how the aquaponics is going and a few things I've done over there. So I will pretty much leave it there. Thank you very much, folks, for coming along and sussing out the videos, and I do wish you all a merry or happy or jolly Christmas if you do celebrate it, and to all you folks who don't, I hope you have a top one yourselves and get to catch up with some family and friends and whatnot through the silly season. Special thanks as always needs to go out to those supporters on the YouTube membership platform, and also the Podia Farm Your Own Yard website. Thank you very much for the support, folks. I will pretty much all leave it there. I'm going up for a cold drink. I hope you're all well and happy and your gardens are booming, and I'll catch you later. Cheers, folks.